What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the We Hate Kyle Lowry show because we hate Kyle Lowry. This is February 1st, 2021. It's actually the six-man show, but we do really hate Kyle Lowry. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Luke Sylvia. Luke, how are you doing? I'm not doing great.
Well, it's just another day in the life of, covering the Magic as Magic fans. I had a buddy ask me who is a Raptors fan. He's from Canada. Eric, actually. We had him on the show. Eric Fawcett. He gave us a great breakdown of the NBA draft. Is on board with Cole Anthony, has been since we asked him about it. But all that to say, he asked me once I was texting about Kyle Lowry. Obviously, we'll get more into it, but Kyle Lowry caused the injury, or caused his dirtiness struck again. He didn't cause AG's injury tonight, so I was starting to say that, but I'm just so used to saying Kyle Lowry, caused AG's injuries, and it's just kind of rinse and repeat at this point. But Eric asked me, is Kyle Lowry the player you dislike the most? Or he said, who do you dislike the most in the NBA? And I was like, I really don't have a player that I dislike a lot. Like, there's not a player that I really have a huge disdain for in the NBA. I'll, say I have my doubts about certain players and whatnot, but I said, if I had a number one, it's definitely Kyle Lowry. I mean, he's just like one incident after the other. Regardless of if tonight's, box out move, whatever you want to call it tonight, whether that was intentional or not, Kyle Lowry has struck out. Like, he has struck out, caught swinging, caught looking like he's done. Anytime that there's a play like that happens, I will always, from now on, and it was already at this point anyway, but say Kyle Lowry meant to do it. He meant to do it. It doesn't matter. It's just like one too many times at this point.
So he has lost the benefit of your doubt, is what you're saying.
Oh, all of it.
That is right where I am. There are people tonight on Twitter, and if you guys didn't watch the game, what we're alluding to was it the second quarter? Ball goes up. The Raptors have the ball. Ball goes up. Raptors miss. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Raptors have the ball. They miss it. Kyle Lowry looks like he was trying to play it off, like he was trying to box out Aaron Gordon. I've never seen anybody wind up and then extend their butt right into somebody's like the lower part of his thigh, like the top of his knee. Aaron's foot was planted, so he hyperextended his knee. They go, Aaron's clearly hurt. They go down to the other end. Aaron has Kyle Lowry on him. He's calling for the ball, and then just shoulder checks Lowry. Like, Aaron made some good contact. Let's not act like he didn't. But Kyle Lowry saw the contact coming and clearly just flops to the ground. Okay? There's a little bit of a dust-up.
He was prepared.
Yeah, they're chit-chatting back and forth. Aaron goes to the locker room now because of the hyperextension of the medical team needs to take a look at it. Kyle Lowry then goes over to Terrence like, T. Ross. And Terrence is just ignoring him. He's like, yeah, T. Ross. He gets Terrence's attention. He's like, yeah, I'm a F. You guys can fill in the blank there. F him up. As in, what Aaron did was completely uncalled for. Throw the dirty box out aside. The hamstring, if you guys don't remember in the playoff, in the bubble, the Magic are playing the Raptors. In the bubble, the Magic are playing the Raptors. Aaron's got like a clear layup / dunk. Kyle Lowry has no chance in the world to make a play on the ball. You clearly see the windup from Kyle Lowry. Grabs Aaron's arm. As Aaron comes down, the left leg just swings awkwardly up into the air. Like he basically did a standing split. Tore his hamstring. Yeah. And Aaron, a week ago now, came off of a minutes restriction. So we're talking about like a 5-month hamstring injury that Aaron literally just came back from. So dirty box out, whatever you want to call it, aside, the shoulder is still warranted. Okay? So now in the past, I don't know, year and a half, we've seen Kyle Lowry catch Michael Carter-Williams in the nose in the first round of the playoffs. What was that, game one? Nose just profusely bleeding at that point. We saw the dirty play on Aaron Gordon last year in the Raptors Celtics playoff series. Jaylen Brown goes up, and Kyle Lowry just brings his right leg, literally leg sweeps Jaylen Brown in midair. Jaylen Brown falls right, just flat on his back. Could have been just such a dangerous play. It's not even funny. And the worst part is Kyle Lowry does these things, common fouls. Like, such blatantly dirty plays, just common fouls. No not even a flagrant one. I would love to see him get ejected and things like that. But I think that is the overwhelming sentiment among Magic fans right now, is that Kyle Lowry is just a POS, that he's a dirty player. And, I mean, there are people that are trying to make, excuses, but Dante Marchitelli said it best. Steve Clifford was being asked after the game about the play. Cliff wouldn't come out and say it was a cheap shot, so Dante said, Cliff won't say it, I'll say it. It was a cheap shot.
Yeah.
Apart from all of the things
shot.
that – go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, as an aside, Kyle Lowry saying that to T. Ross, like, I'm gonna F him up. Like, let's be honest, Kyle Lowry, aside from, like, Jordan Bone and Evan Fournier maybe, you're not effing anybody up on the Magic roster. Nobody. And you're definitely not touching Aaron Gordon. Like, not touching him at all. It's not, unless, he's just injured and has, a hamstring injury or hyperextension of his knee. I mean, then maybe. But
which you would have caused, by the way. Which he would have caused.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So, Kyle Lowry's a punk. Always has been, always will be. He tries to. He's the funny guy in interviews and stuff like that. But on the court, man, he's dirty, and that's all there is to it. And he does those things like right after those fouls. He's always quick to say that was me, or quick to try to help him up, like the Jaylen Brown incident. He did the same thing. He tried to help him up immediately and whatever. Maybe at the when he does it, maybe he doesn't expect it to have the repercussions that it has on players, just by his reaction. But at the same time, like we've said, the benefit of the doubt's gone. Kyle Lowry is a dirty player, and that's all he should be remembered by. I mean, that's it.
Tonight was kind of like the third or fourth time that Grayson Allen tripped somebody. You know what I mean? Like, the first couple times you're like, all right, was it really advertent? I feel like it's advertent, but I don't really have a lot of proof. And tonight it was just like, okay, how many times does this guy have to do this before we just come out and call it like it is? And you saw Toronto, people that cover the Raptors coming out and trying to take jabs at Aaron Gordon. Like, there was one guy who I don't remember his name. Probably shouldn't remember his name anyways. That works for Toronto Sportsnet, and he was like the only difference between Aaron Gordon and Kyle Lowry is one guy gets invited to All-Star Weekend to participate in the dunk contest, and one guy gets invited to play in the game. All that aside, it doesn't take away from the fact that it was a dirty play and that Kyle Lowry is a dirty player. Even if you want to look past all that, just his constant complaining and whatting to the refs, along with Nick Nurse, you and I have had this conversation plenty of times. He's not a pleasant person to watch play basketball. I could care less for the guy. All of that, and now Aaron Gordon's hurt, right? I don't know.
You couldn't care less, by the way. Because if you could care
nobody
less,
cares.
You could
Luke.
care less.
Nobody. I could not care less that you feel the need to correct every single person whenever they say something incorrectly. All right, buddy? You're catching me on a bad night. Let's not do this. Okay? Regardless, Luke, if you guys were watching Fox Sports Florida after the game, they had a shot of Aaron Gordon on crutches, and his ankle looks as big as, I'll say Luke's head. Luke's head is a little bit bigger than my head. So the size of Luke's head. I said, yeah, you want to take a jab at my grammar? I'm taking a jab at your head being bigger than mine. What's up? No,
it's true.
but
I know I haven't had a haircut in a long time, Jonathan, and my hair looks, my head looks a little bigger as a result,
Now look,
but,
there's nothing wrong with having a big head. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings here, but no, Aaron Gordon's ankle does not look good right now. That's what I'm trying to say. It looks like a grapefruit. All of the injuries that we have,
it doesn't look great.
We literally cannot take Aaron having a sprained ankle or I can't even put into words everything that has happened to us this season, everything that happened tonight. this was the Kyle Lowry, Aaron Gordon drama was going to be the leading story no matter what. We didn't also then need, one, the Magic to get blown out, then Aaron to roll his ankle, Stanley Johnson picking up Aaron Gordon the entire game, really for no reason. I mean, I'm not trying to blame Stanley Johnson, but he was doing a lot of stuff for absolutely nothing tonight. And then Aaron just bad luck, steps on his foot, rolls the ankle, immediately comes out of the game, misses the rest of the game. Probably going to miss it at least a few games, I would guess. We'll be lucky if that's the case. The severity of the...
the grade of the ankle sprain,
right.
At this point, it's obviously a sprain, right? Like, we've seen how huge his ankle is. Some of you guys might remember John Morant had an ankle injury. His was, I believe, grade 3 or something like that. But he was out, or not grade 3, but it was an ankle injury. And he was out 3 to 5 weeks. It was bad, and so he was out 3 to 5 weeks. Who knows the severity of AGs? I did look up, just the average, injury time out with sprained ankle, and it goes anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 months. Let's hope it's not the worst of it.
Good.
Yeah.
Night.
And granted, that's not necessarily like, athletes' bodies are sometimes insane and like can just heal quickly. Terrence Ross, for instance, heals quickly. So yeah, I mean, who knows? But in that Google search was literally injury timeout with a sprained ankle. It says 2 weeks to 6 months, depending on how serious the injury is. Who really knows? Especially with an athlete in the NBA, they've got all the resources at their fingertips. So let's hope it's not 6 months. But if it's 6 months, man, my name is Luke, and I'm the conductor of your tanking train, and we're going all the way down. That's it. If it's a 6 month injury,
let's hold off on that.
That would be too much for me.
Because we will get to that in just a few moments here. But I'm hoping that it's not 6 months. I doubt that it's going to be 6 months, but I think just conservatively speaking, we'll be lucky if it's only a few games. Like when stuff like this happens, especially to our guys. Our training staff and management are super conservative when it comes to injuries, so we're probably at the very least looking at a few weeks without Aaron Gordon. Chuma is, I guess, getting closer to coming back. Al-Farouq Aminu is still a little bit behind Chuma. And then earlier in the week, Cliff said that Michael Carter-Williams had a chance to play like on Friday, and then he pulled himself out of practice this week because he re-aggravated the foot. So God only knows how long it's going to be until we see Michael Carter-Williams again.
Hey, Jonathan, when's Mo Bamba back? Do you know?
We're doing this now.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll do this now. Let me crack the knuckles.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm cracking all the knuckles. I don't know if you guys can hear that. So the Magic are down for most of that fourth quarter by double digits, Luke, right? Like, I think at some point it was like 16, 17 points, something like that, with like 5 minutes to go. And I'm looking at this team, and I'm like, we're not coming back tonight. No Aaron Gordon. Evan shot the ball incredibly poorly tonight. So did Vucevic. Let me go ahead. I'm going to bring up the box score while we're sitting here and talking about this so that I can actually speak to these shooting numbers here. Come on, load computer.
Oh, they weren't
Nikola
good.
Vucevic, 5 of 18. Evan Fournier, 2 of 12. Those guys don't have it going. Terrence Ross, let's take a look at that. 1 of 5. So the 3 guys that could possibly get you back in this game, none of those guys have it going. You're down by double digits in the fourth quarter. They've been kicking your butt all night. Get Mo Bamba in the game. If it's a conditioning issue, you're not winning this game anyways. What's the worst that's going to happen? He's going to go out there and get gassed. So what? He needs to build up the conditioning. So finally, with about 3 minutes, 30 seconds left, Bamba checks into the game, and in his roughly 3 minutes, 7 points, 1 rebound, 3 of 3 from the floor, 1 of 1 from the three-point line, with a block in 7 minutes tonight. I posted a graphic, 2 nights ago. I posted it on, Instagram, on Twitter, and then also in Reddit. So Reddit is definitely where that graphic generated the most conversation. And let me pull this up for you guys, just so that I can give you some reference. It's in regards to Mo Bamba's per 36 minutes. And I'll talk more about that in just a second. So Heading into tonight, Mo Bamba's per 36 minutes. So what that means is they take, the average amount of minutes that a player, is playing right now, and they extrapolate on those numbers, to the degree of if they played 36 minutes, what could we project their numbers to look like? Before tonight,
Right.
and Luke, when you go in to take your take, I'll go into NBA.com the stats and see what his per 36 numbers are updated after tonight. So before tonight, 24.7 points per game, 16.7 rebounds, 1.8 blocks. Nobody is trying to argue that given 36 minutes in a game that Mo Bamba would average those numbers. What they do show you, however, is that he deserves more of a look than what he is currently getting. Mo comes in, and people want to say, he's playing against scrubs, whatever. So what was that kid's name? Yuta Watanabe and Chris Boucher tonight for the Raptors played 19 and 18 minutes respectively, the two of those guys. They are right now rotation guys on a Toronto Raptors team that going into the season a lot of people said was a top 3, top 4 team in the East. Okay? Mo Bamba was not playing against scrubs tonight when he did that in 7 minutes. So, Luke, I want to get your thoughts because I literally could go for probably 35 minutes about how frustrated I am with the Mo Bamba situation, with Steve Clifford not playing Mo. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah. So tonight you had tweeted something out, about, this is ridiculous. Let's get Mo Bamba in the game. He comes in, 30 seconds, a minute later. And at that point, I look over and Mo's just on the bench. I mean, he's just hanging out. He's in his chair. They're obviously separated because of COVID protocol. He's in his gray sweatsuit. Him and who else? Jordan Bone. He and Jordan Bone check in, Jonathan, at the exact same time. I'm looking at this, and I start thinking to myself, is this where we're at? Jordan Bone and Mo Bamba, they're the same quality at this point. They're worth the same to this team at this point. That you're just putting in Jordan Bone and Mo Bamba into the game to try, to get them some burn with 3.5 minutes left. Like, I don't know, man. It doesn't sit right with me. I know it doesn't sit right with a lot of Magic fans. There's just got to be something going on. And I guess it is his conditioning. I don't know. I mean, Mo comes out on the court. He gets put on Siakam at one point in the possession at the very beginning. Siakam puts one move on him. Mo can't keep up. Mo puts both his hands on the front of Siakam and fouls him. And I think to myself, oh, this is going to be a terrible 3.5 minutes. This is going to be awful. I mean, he can't keep up with Siakam, and so he just fouls him. Siakam goes to the line, yada, yada, yada. But then he does good things. I mean, he's getting boards at this point. He knocks down a 3, granted wide open, but he knocks down a 3. And, it's just like it doesn't make sense. And we've been saying this, and I feel like it's exhausted because we've said it so much. None of it makes sense. His per 36 up to this point was a yes against mainly garbage time, players. And Mo Bamba is not a garbage time player. There's so many people that would be quick to say, Kim Birch has earned it. And yes, Kim Birch is Kim Birch. And he's had moments this year where he has played above his usual level. However, Kim Birch is not Mo Bamba, and Mo Bamba deserves more minutes, more time, more run. Let him get gassed, man. Like, just let him get gassed. Let Mo Bamba tap his chest and say, Cliff, take me out. Let him do it. I mean, like, why not? I mean, if you're only going to play him 3.5 minutes at the end of the game, why don't you play him 3.5 minutes on fresh legs in the second quarter when it matters and let him take himself out? Evan Fournier did that the other night. Like, I watched Evan Fournier tap his chest, Cliff, take me out. That's all that is what Cliff should do at this point. Your team sucks, for lack of better term. Like, the Magic are not good at basketball.
There is not a better
for
term.
Anybody that
there is
listening.
not a better term right now,
No.
Luke. The team sucks right now.
No, this team sucks. And
the team now.
and
let us
it
be
is
clear.
Injury riddled, all
Thank
that
you.
stuff.
Thank you.
Yes. So it is because this team has been decimated by injuries. There's no getting around that. I know Jonathan had an interaction with a new Magic fan tonight. And while we love having new Magic fans, we're going to be straight up with them. And he said, is this team going to be for real at any point? It just seems like nothing's really coming along. And Jonathan's response was good. He just said, injuries have really decimated the team. This team is much better than what you're seeing in the product on the court right now. And that couldn't, that couldn't be closer to the truth. I mean, that is very true. With all the injuries, you guys know what the injury list is. We did it last week. We don't need to do it again. So now with AG out, it's just kind of getting to the point where, like, I love a second quarter where Mo Bamba gets run, or even a first quarter. I mean, let him run in the first quarter for 4 minutes, take himself out, put him back in the fourth quarter. Like, I don't know what it looks like, but I mean, there's got to be a better solution to get Mo Bamba minutes than this if you really believe in him. I'm just starting to wonder if Cliff just doesn't really believe in him, and that's the point we're getting to, where it's just like nobody's asking him about it, Jonathan. You listened to the post-game press conference. First thing I asked you when we got on the Zoom call, I don't have Fox Sports Florida, so I didn't, get access to the post-game press conference. I said, hey, anybody ask him about Mo? And you said, not that I saw. And no. So
I just want to add to that, although that is true, on Fox Sports Florida, they did not include the entire post-game interview with Clifford. Due to time constraints with the programming, they did cut it off at a certain point. Now, usually about this time, 45 minutes to an hour after the game, Orlando Magic PR will upload, to Twitter and to YouTube those post-game press conferences in their entirety. So I'm going to watch that when we jump off of here a little bit later. But what I saw, they
put
did
it
not
up about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. So
they put up the full.
So we don't really
5
know,
minutes ago,
to be fair.
We don't. But here is the scenario. I'll walk you through.
I'm gonna guess no, though. I'm just gonna guess no.
I don't know if they're paying reporters. I don't know what it is that they're just like, reporters are to the point where they're just not asking. I don't know what the deal is. It really stinks because we see Mo go out, and I think the fan base deserves answers about Mo Bamba. And maybe Cliff has said something and it slipped through the cracks of both, for Jonathan and myself, but I doubt it. I just don't know if he's really been pressured with that question. I think that he deserves to get pressured with that question. There's a couple things now that are just kind of ticks on Clifford's record for me, and that's his rotations. And this factors very much so into that issue and lumped into that issue of rotations and Cliff maybe not having the best judgment. There's got to be something to this Mo Bamba thing because it doesn't make sense. He comes in, he dominates. I don't care if they're garbage time players. Sometimes they're NBA players, and maybe he doesn't do what he does, but he shouldn't be doing what he does in garbage time minutes, right? His per 36 numbers are insane. So even if he comes in and gives you 12 and 8, is that not valuable? And at the same time, you're developing him. I'm sorry, but I'm way more concerned with developing Mo Bamba than Khem Birch. So, I don't know.
Well, you're not developing Khem Birch. But I don't think anybody is arguing that we're trying to develop Khem Birch. But Khem, at face value, people are saying he contributes more to winning right now. And no offense, I it's every single day I'm trying to walk uphill, and I've got this giant thing chained to my back that is a tank, and I'm getting dragged down by it more and more every day. I'm trying to walk towards wins. I'm trying to walk towards, good culture and winning basketball and everything like that. And every injury, every loss, every stupid game where Mo Bamba should get more playing time and he doesn't is just I'm walking up the hill, Luke. I got to tell you, I'm walking, but the weight of that tank is just causing my feet to jam into the ground, and I'm just sliding. I'm Mufasa, the Stampede of the Wildebeests. I'm Scar. Please help me. I don't want to die. Don't want to die, Scar. And the Magic are just lunging their claws into my big lion paws and throwing me to the wildebeests. That's what's happening right now. Okay.
I think that's your best comparison. I think that's the best comparison I've heard.
We're talking
from
about
you
the Lion
on the
King
show
right now. So. Let me tell you about Mo Bamba's per 36 numbers after tonight. So I talked about the fact that they were, let's see. Come on, iPhone, open up, buddy boy. 24, 16, 1 block. Tonight, after that game, now they're up to 28.6. Rebounds dropped just a smidge, 16.3 rebounds. 2.4 blocks, so the blocks are up a little bit. 9 personal fouls, though. We got to fix the fouling. He's in there 11 seconds. fouled Pascal Siakam. But I mean, you're putting a center on Pascal. That's what's going to happen probably 7, 8, 9 times out of 10, to be fair. But the thing is, you watch one of your young guys dominate in garbage time like that, most logical people are going to say, hey, let's get this guy a few more minutes out of garbage time, see if he can do this against the bench guys. You know what I mean? Like, the correct response to a guy dominating and having just unrealistic per 36 numbers is not, oh, he's trash, he's playing against the scrubs. No, let's see what this guy can do. Let's see if he's gotten any better. And like you said, Kem Birch is not the future of this team. I cannot get this thought process out of my head lately that if Mo Bamba does not pan out whatsoever, it is going to be, to this point, the biggest failure of Steve Clifford as the head coach of the Orlando Magic, John Hammond as the GM, and Jeff Weltman as the president of basketball operations. Those three guys working together. Now, you cannot argue that they have not had just absolutely terrible luck when it comes to Mo's health, his injuries. Rookie year with the tibia fracture, last year COVID. Then a couple weeks ago, it gets placed on the health and safety protocol list for the non-team contact tracing or whatever. But Steve Clifford needs to do a better job of, okay, we got to bring this kid along at some point. Like, just throw him to the wolves. What did they do with Cole Anthony, who's a rookie, by the way? Markelle Fultz tore his ACL. Did they go out and get Jeremy Lin or Isaiah Thomas or any of these guys? They said, guess what, kid? Lace up. You're the starter now.
Yeah.
Get your butt out there. They didn't worry, oh, maybe he's not ready. Oh, he hasn't earned it, blah, blah, blah. They threw him out there because, one, they know it's going to be good for his development. We didn't really have any other options as far as signing a free agent. Of course, they were hoping that Michael Carter-Williams was coming back at some point. But, I mean, let's start talking about the unintentional tank at this point. I mean, there are people that are just like, the way that people were jumping on GameStop stock this week, people are jumping on the tank train now. They're just like, all right, enough is enough. I've seen enough. And again, like, I feel like you and I have, like, it's not like we're quietly like hoping like, oh man, I hope the Magic really do tank, but we're not saying that on the show. Like, no, we do think that there's value in winning basketball, playing meaningful games, a winning culture, as in regard to surrounding the team. But it's getting harder every single day to hold on to that, because it's just like, what is the point? Evan Fournier, Nikola Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, they're not getting it done right now. They're not getting it done now. Historically, they haven't gotten it done in the past. They got it done in 2018 and 2019 and last year. We'll give them that. But the prior 6-7 years before that, they weren't getting it done. They're not going to bring us a title. I'm not saying trade Vooch. I don't ever think it's a good idea to trade your best player. Okay? But Evan, Aaron, it just feels like it's time.
Yeah, it is time. It's time, and man, I don't know, man. It's gonna be hard though if AG is out, a few months, right? I mean, what are we in? We're in January right now. The trade deadline's March something. February 1st is gonna be actually when everybody hears this podcast. So February 1st, that's like 5 weeks from trade deadline. So you gotta hope, and also this is a myth that a lot of people believe, but yes, you can trade a player who is injured. The other team just has to know about it when the physical is done, all that kind of stuff. I think 2K has planted that in everybody's brain that, because on 2K you can't trade a player when he's injured, that you can't do that.
I read the same article you read this week. Are you trying to pawn that off like that?
That wasn't.
Stop.
That wasn't this week.
Cut it out, bro.
This week. I didn't.
I didn't.
Okay. I didn't read that. No, that has been a thing with 2K for a long time.
I will give it to you. I read an article this week and it said that verbatim. So you came up with that on your own,
No, I'm sure that the article has been recycled. I want to say that I read an article. I right. No, I get it. I read an article, I think a couple years ago at this point, where that was the consensus there. That it's a misconception about 2K not allowing you. Regardless, all that to say, teams might not want Aaron Gordon if, like, especially a contender. It's not going to want Aaron Gordon if he's still, nursing an ankle injury and, he just came off his hamstring. Like, he might be kind of hard to deal at this point. So, and like I said, trade deadline is not far away. So, it's going to be interesting there. Evan Fournier absolutely should be dealt away from Orlando. I don't know. I don't know what the return is for Evan. We've talked about it many times before. I won't go in depth about it, but I don't know. When you get Chuma back healthy, MCW back healthy, whatever you get in return for Evan Fournier, it might be hard to tank, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally. Now, intentionally tanking would be holding on to, Aaron and then leaving him out for a few, more games than he needs to be. That's usually how teams will do it. If a player gets injured, even a small injury, they'll keep him out a little bit longer. So there's a lot of different ways Orlando can go with trades, with tanking, with not tanking. We really don't know what's going to happen.
All right, let me hit you with something that I've just kind of come across looking at the standing. So the Magic are 8-13 right now. After tonight's loss, they are the 12th seed in the East right now. So behind New York, Toronto, and Chicago. Okay, Luke, if I were to ask you who has been the worst team in the league this season, who would you probably say?
In the entire season or Eastern Conference?
No, the whole league. Who do you think has probably been the worst team? And if you factor in everything, they have a big chance to get a lot worse. Me, it's the Wizards.
Yeah, I was gonna say Washington probably.
To me, it's the Wizards. Okay.
Or Detroit.
What if I told you the Wizards are 2 games behind the Magic right now? As bad as the Wizards have been, and they have the worst record in the league.
Standings.
Looking at, I'm on CBS Sports right now. I just like their layout. They're showing right now Washington is 9 games behind, and the Magic are 7 games back right now.
What's it say their record is, Washington?
3-12.
So they're 4-12 because they won tonight. So I guess they have
4-12. Okay. I don't know what's going on with this. This is games back. Okay, this just doesn't make any sense at all. Then, if the Magic are 7 games back, I don't know what's going on. Well, Washington's also missed a lot of games as well. So maybe that plays into it. The fact that they had
Orlando
quite a few
has played 21
postponements.
games. They've played 16.
Yeah, so the postponements and COVID are throwing a lot of these numbers off. So, all right, maybe I put my foot in my mouth there a little bit. But my point is the Magic are now 12th in the Eastern Conference. 538 now gives them a 34% chance of making the playoffs. Okay, let's talk about the next 15 games between now and like what is the end of like the first half of the season. So we've got Toronto again on Tuesday, then Chicago twice, Portland, Golden State, Sacramento, Phoenix, New York, Golden State again, Detroit twice, Brooklyn, Utah, Dallas, Atlanta. Any of those games, can you circle those and say this Magic team should beat them? Because I cannot do that one time. There's not a single game in the next 15 games that I think this current Magic team, and this is even with a healthy Aaron Gordon, if Aaron Gordon's out for a few weeks, you can forget about it, that I can say the Magic should beat that team. Maybe Detroit. Detroit's been pretty bad this year, but the Magic just can't seem to beat anybody right now. What is it, like 14, like 2 out of their last 14 games that they've won? Something like that at this point. So as you start to look around, like the next 15 games to me is the season. If they can figure it out in the next 15 games and still be within striking distance of that, 9-10 seed, somewhere around there, I don't think that I would completely be on board with saying, let's just still try to do whatever we need to do to make the playoffs. If you're just going to take what you have and say we're in striking distance, let's go for it, then I'm like, okay, I guess so. But if you're going to go out and try to make a signing or, use like that exception that the Magic now have, for Markelle Fulton and Jonathan Isaac, I'm not going to be totally on board with that. If the Magic look around and say, guess what, guys, it's not happening. It's not happening with this group. We need to make changes. I will not argue one bit. But I think the next 15 games is going to be the entire season for us.
Yeah, Yeah, I think, yeah, for sure. I mean, you go down, like you said, you go down the stretch and it's just like, I mean, woof. I mean, it's crazy the difference. And when we were 6-2, and now, like going down this schedule, I would give the Magic definitely some wins with Markel healthy, AG healthy, that type of stuff. Obviously, not the case. Not how it's going. The Magic, plain and simple, the Magic are one of the worst teams in the league. And I think that this year we will find that out by the final record of this team. I don't think it's going to be good. I texted you this today, and I said that the New York Knicks are better than the Orlando Magic, which haven't been able to say in a long time. So, it's just, it stinks, but I'm putting a lot of hope in next year with the guys that we've got, and I hate that I'm having to already look ahead. But after tonight with the AG injury, barring the severity of it, obviously, as we keep saying, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to get much better, and I think it'll get worse in these next 15 games. The Magic will win some games because that's the nature of the NBA. You beat teams that you probably shouldn't beat sometimes. But yeah, I mean that's and it's not even it's not even a gauntlet. They're just NBA teams. Like they range from the Nets to down to Detroit and the Bulls and all that, and the Knicks and the Warriors. Like it's a good, myriad of teams, and I just don't see the Magic. Like you said, I don't see a guaranteed win in there anywhere at this point, and I think it's going to get really ugly.
And let's also talk about this, right? I think we talked last week about, the strength of schedule. So far, the Magic have had one of the easiest schedules in the entire NBA. And I'm pretty sure the second half of the season, they're going to have the hardest schedule out of any team in the NBA. So when we're talking about the next 15 games going to make or break the Magic, right? Like, we're probably talking about the Magic having to put, like, I don't know, like a 10-5 record together over the next 15 games. If you're looking at the second half of the season and what that schedule is going to look like, and if you're, in that war room, Jeff and John, you really have to sit down and be like, what are our legitimate, like, realistic prospects of making the playoffs, given the team that we have, the way they've played so far, the way they've been playing lately, and then how that's going to, pan out the rest of the season with having the toughest schedule in the NBA. I mean, if you look at these guys, and again, I haven't watched any of the player interviews after tonight's game, but the other night, who was it? The Clippers. After that game, like especially Terrence Ross and Nikola Vucevic, like those, like Vuce was like, things are not looking good right now. Terrence Ross looked borderline dejected. Okay, Steve Clifford, repeated a few times in the press conference after that game that the way to get yourself out of this is to keep working, keep competing, keep working, keep competing, and hope that you're going to just work yourself out of it. But the Magic are not a good team right now. They can't guard anybody to save their lives, and too many nights they just can't figure out the offense. Looking at Sacramento 121-107, Clippers 116-90. Tonight, 115-102. And if it wasn't for the way the Magic were shooting the three ball tonight, we'd probably lose this game by, 15, 20 points easily. So
yeah,
it's really not looking great right now, Luke, to put it in the words of Nikola Vucevic. And I can't. I'm constantly getting torn between, it is a good idea to, try to win games and give these guys meaningful minutes and everything like that. But if we're talking about the guys that I really care about getting meaningful minutes, it's Cole Anthony, it's Chuma Okeke, it's Mo Bamba. Chuma Okeke's not playing right now. Mo Bamba isn't being put on the floor. So if those guys aren't on the floor anyways, then what's the point? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Yeah, and
it's very discouraging.
And to kind of circle back to, I will say, talk about Cole Anthony, guys like that. There was a silver lining tonight. There was a bright spot in the night, and that was Cole Anthony. Cole led all scorers obviously, and much in due part to Vucevic having a horrific night from the field. But Cole Anthony had 16 points on 50% shooting, 5 of 10 from the field, and 1 of 3 from the three-point line, and had 6 assists. So Cole Anthony had a good game tonight. All around, it was a weird game. Pascal obviously scores 30. I do like the adjustments that were made on Fred VanVleet. He came out scorching hot, and then you actually, you start doubling him off of screens, go over the top of those screens. I think he had 4 or 5 turnovers tonight, a guy that usually only has, averages like 1.7 turnovers a game. So there were a couple bright spots tonight. You kind of have to look for those at this point in the season. What went well for the team? Where did they show improvement? Played well on Fred VanVleet, the entirety of the game after he got off to his hot start, shut him down quickly, and Cole Anthony goes 50% from the field, leads all scorers with 16. So, and 6 assists. So, those are kind of my takeaways tonight. I know this is a negative podcast right now because it's, it is the reality of the Orlando Magic and the state of them. But yeah, Cole Anthony, hopefully he can keep, coming along. And who knows if, maybe it's going to be beneficial if AG's out for him, and maybe he just, gets more responsibility than he's had since Markelle went out, even more, and can continue to kind of get in a rhythm and improve his efficiency a little bit, because that's the biggest thing that we've put emphasis on is his efficiency, and I think he's getting there slowly but surely.
Yeah, the numbers are starting to come up, for Cole. So 10.8 points per game on the year, 36% from the floor, 31.9% from the three-point line, 85% from the free throw line. Last 10 games, 12.3 points, shooting 40% from the floor, 43% from the three-point line. Last 5 games, 12.8 points, 42% from the floor, 42% from three. So it seems like, again, we talked last week about how the game was slowing down for him, and it definitely seems like it is. I'm much less concerned about Cole Anthony than I was 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Where we were like,
definitely,
all right, what's going on? And I said it was going to take about 20 games, and that's right around where we are now. So
yeah,
I'm glad that we were patient with Cole. Him starting, in my opinion, regardless of whether those are competitive games or not, your rookie season, every game is going to be competitive for you, that you have an opportunity to get better every single night. Obviously, yes, it would benefit him to play in meaningful games to realize what that feels like, right? However, you look at guys like Jonathan Isaac. Apart from the health, Jonathan Isaac is doing just fine, apart from, first, year in the league, didn't really play in many competitive games. So, I mean, he missed most of the season, but it's just, and then, oh my goodness. So I'm just surfing YouTube the other day, right? And this video comes across of Mike Schmitz with ESPN breaking down film with some of these guys from the G League Ignite team. And you and I have talked how, the last few, really since the draft, looking ahead to next year's draft, that Jalen Green is just the guy that I have fallen in love with already. Usually this doesn't happen until right before the draft, but I didn't think I'd be looking at who the Magic might be taking in the draft until like September or October at least. But now I'm stuck in this, dude, maybe we don't tank, but then this Jalen Green kid, man, like he's got all the size, he's got the athleticism, seems like he's got the intangibles, he wants to be really good. Magic fans are upset that we didn't go after a guy like Kevin Porter Jr. Jalen Green is like Kevin Porter Jr. on steroids, but I think has the ability and the potential to be more efficient. And then you just, Mike Schmitz is talking to him about the things that he still needs to work on or things that he's going to pick up on as, he goes through this whole process. And he's a kid that totally realizes, I definitely need to get better. There are a lot of things that I can improve on. He doesn't think that he has it all figured out. So, yeah, man, I feel like it's going to be, we're holding on to 2 ropes right now. You know what I mean? Like the fan base. Like we really want a good draft pick, but then there's a still a large, portion of the fans who are like, no, we still need to stay competitive, but I also kind of see your point. And the front office just has to make that decision for us. A lot of times you get stuck in mediocrity when you're trying to do both things, when you're trying to develop your youth, but at the same time you're still trying to win games and just make that that 8th seed every year. You got to have that 8th seed, Luke. So I think a lot of people are just afraid of getting stuck there, and a lot of people are just they want some new, exciting things to be injected into the franchise. We had Markel for a little bit. We had Chuma for a little bit. But now we've got Cole, and people were excited about that. But, yeah, man.
Well, hey, I mean, here's something. So kind of a G League plug, I guess, since we're talking about Jalen Green, the Ignite team, obviously, all of that. The G League's coming a long way, and there's I being someone that worked in the G League, there's a large percentage of guys in the league this year on rosters that started in the G League. And you kind of got that tonight with Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet. We're on that 905 Raptors team in 2016. They talked about that on the broadcast tonight, I believe. But all that to say, Ignite, the new G League team with all those prospects, those really young guys like Jalen Green, they actually have the bubble of their own starting on February 10th. And actually, there's going to be, I read that there's going to be 14 total games nationally televised between ESPN2 and ESPNU. And the first game involves Ignite. So it's Ignite versus Santa Cruz Warriors on February 10th at 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2. I would definitely mark your calendars for that. It's actually, the G League is not bad basketball by any means. And the Ignite guys might surprise a lot of people because they are, guys that could be stars in the league. So just something for you guys to look forward to. I know I'm looking forward to that. Just seeing those guys play. Obviously, I'm a little biased coming from the G League myself, and in terms of being on staff, and so I have a soft spot for a lot of those guys. Just in terms of their journeys and the dedication they put in, and how different it is from the NBA. So definitely tune into that to see the Ignite team play against the Santa Cruz Warriors, because it could be a little more entertaining than you think, and it's daytime basketball. There's not much better than that. We found that out during the bubble. It's nice to have basketball all day, and start your day off a little bit of basketball,
Well, I can guarantee you that I will be watching the G League Ignite just to see, even if Jalen Green never ends up on the Magic, I just feel like he's going to be a guy that I'm going to enjoy watching play for a really long time. 4 years ago, going into the draft, my guy was Jason Tatum. Like, I don't know what it was at the time, just watching him at Duke and how smooth he was, I was like, that kid is going to be a stud. And then the next year it was Luka. Obviously, I hadn't watched enough of Luka to really have that same feeling, but Jalen Green is giving me that same feeling. Like, that kid is going to be a stud. Obviously, people are talking about Cade Cunningham, and rightfully so. Playing at Oklahoma State. You can't, in my opinion, you really can't go wrong with either of those guys. Just the style of play that Jalen has is just kind of more of what I, kind of gravitate towards. And I think, given the current state of the Magic, if healthy, Jalen would just kind of plug right in to that shooting guard role. And then hopefully, eventually we're looking at a starting five of Markel, Jalen Green, Chuma Okeke, Jonathan Isaac, and then you give me Vooch or Mo, and I think we'll be okay. So
yeah, I think we'd be all right at that point.
I think we'll be all right.
And
if
and
everybody
the
stays
cool
healthy, and God knows if that's possible anymore.
Yeah, and if you look at the G League, man, like Jalen Green is gonna have a leg up on Cade because because of the fact that he's playing against guys that were very good in college as well. Back in Lakeland, Gabe York played for the Arizona State Wildcats team, was a starter on that team, and they were ranked number 1 for like something crazy, like 14 consecutive weeks in a row. That was a really good team, Arizona Wildcat team. But Gabe was in the G League in Lakeland and could shoot the lights out. I mean, there's a lot of really talented guys in the G League. I didn't mean for this to turn into a G League plug, but that is a soft spot for me. I love where that league is trending. I think the Ignite team is the right step, getting guys more exposure and also getting the G League more exposure. They're doing good things for each other. So will be a lot of fun to get to see those guys go to work and get to play and get a year under their belt against really solid talent with guys that go back and forth between the NBA and the G League too. So it'll be a lot of fun to watch.
Well, let's be real. 80 to 90% of guys that play, NCAA Division I basketball won't ever even sniff the G League. Like it's
Right.
another step up of competition. So from that aspect, for these Ignite guys playing against better competition than they would face in NCAA Division I, you're playing in an NBA system. You've talked multiple times about how the Lakeland Magic and the Orlando Magic, they run all the same stuff, so that if you get called up to the Orlando Magic, everything's familiar to you. And then you've got guys like, when you're playing for the Ignite, like Amir Johnson, Jarrett Jack, longtime NBA veterans that are going to help them learn how to be professionals. I like, to me, you have such a bigger advantage opting to play for the Ignite team if you're invited to do so than you would. Sure, you're missing out on the college experience or whatever, but if your goal is to make it to the NBA and you actually have the ability and the talent to do that, I'm telling my kid, what are you doing wasting your time in college? Like, playing for the Ignite, in my opinion, is such a big advantage. So I can't wait to see those guys play. I think it's going to be awesome. So let's talk about the games this upcoming week. So Tuesday, we play the Raptors again, this time at the Amway Center. And then we have a back-to-back. I think that starts on Thursday. Let's see here. That starts Friday. Friday, Saturday, back-to-back. Chicago Bulls. Friday and Saturday night. I had to burp. Excuse me. I didn't want to do that in the mic. That'd be gross. So the Magic, at least this week, Luke, are going to get a couple of days off to get some practice. And Cliff has been talking about that for weeks, how important that is and how that's really hurt the team not having the ability to practice. But how are you feeling about this week? Because I'm feeling 1-2 if we're lucky.
Yeah. I mean, that's being conservative. 1-2. I could see 0-3. I could see 0-3, and then I mean, you've got a Bulls team that has Zach LaVine on it. Markkanen, all those guys, man, and they're 7-11, but that's a decent team this year. They're not terrible. They've got guys that can go off, like I said, like LaVine. The Raptors, we saw it tonight firsthand. That's not a bad basketball team. I mean, there are some times where it looked like they were, but it's just it's because they're a little bit boring. But they play defense, and they shoot a lot of threes from the perimeter. So I don't think that this team is probably going to play well this week in terms of their record. Hopefully, I just hope that the games are close. I hope they're not blowouts. I can't take another week like this past week where we just got hammered night after night.
Well, it's tough. Like, when you look at our record and you look at the Bulls, like, we're 8-13, Chicago 7-11. So just looking at the numbers, you're like, okay, well, we should have a good chance to win. But the thing is, we started 4-0, and we've gone 4-13 since. So. Yeah. Obviously, like the Markelle injury, we could talk all night about how big of a blow that was to this team. Everybody knows that. We're not arguing that. But how bad this team has been the last 17 games is super, super concerning. And I'm sorry, like, we've just crapped on this team for the last, 53 minutes up to this point. But, I mean, it is frustrating, and the team just isn't in a good place right now. If you're trying to dispute that and you're trying to make this all, positive and everything like that, I'm sorry, you're just out of your mind. Like, things are not looking good right now. There's nothing that is, makes me feel like a positive swing is around the corner. Like, this is the team that we've now seen for the last 2 seasons. Doesn't seem interested in defending every night at a high level, and they just cannot score, especially when you don't have Markelle. Now you don't have Aaron Gordon. You don't have many shooters. And now it seems like teams every single night are just like, okay, we're going to double Vooch every single time he touches the ball in the post, and then we're just going to try to hammer him every single time and play as physical as we can with him. And the last week and a half, that really seems to be bothering him. So he can probably figure things out, but every single night we need Aaron, Evan, Terrence, Vooch to play out of their minds, or we're just not going to win. Now Aaron's hurt, so we really need Evan, Terrence, and Vooch to play out of their minds every night, or we're just not going to win. And forgive me, but I'm just not optimistic that that's going to happen. So
yeah, I think my goal moving forward in these games, I want to see Cole Anthony give me a 35 burger.
Dude.
I just want to see it. I want to see it. I want to.
30.
These games are these. Well, yeah, but 35 is just more exciting, obviously. So I'll say 35. Not that he'll do it, but I love to see him get to that point. Now with AG out, in this week and playing against teams that aren't the Clippers or anything like that, getting to go against guys that he maybe can have a night with. So. We'll see, but that's just kind of my my new thing on the radar. I think it's just to see Cole drop 35 would be great. Even in a loss, I don't really care at this point, man. I mean, show me something, Cole. I want to see more. He's been improving. He's been doing well for us these past few games. Again, leading scorer tonight was 16. So I just hope that he can get to that 35 mark here in the near future. I think it would do a lot for the fan base, get excited about another young guy officially, and then create a little bit more steam going into next year. I think it would be great to see him develop into that and give us games like that.
Obviously, he's got a long, long way to go before he's a superstar or anything like that. But like the early signs from Cole, especially the way that he's improved over the last 2 weeks, he's going to be fine as a shooter. Like I think he's just going to continue to get better there. He's also got the mid range. He had like a crossover, like pull, like step back tonight, right in some dude's face, nothing but net. Love to see that. But for me, like the next level for Cole is finishing at the rim, through contact, and then to start making those reverse layups that he's always trying. Like if those two things start to happen, that's when I'm like, okay, this dude has the potential to put up 22 a night, and some nights he's going to drop 40 and stuff like that will kind of come, and he's going to improve as a defender. But I'm definitely much more encouraged out of what we've seen out of Cole the last 2 weeks than we did the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, no, that's about it. Last thing I'll leave you guys with: 21 games through the year. Has not been the year that we thought it was going to be. We thought it was going to be bad, but we did not know why or how. So circumstantially, it's been a really crappy year for Orlando Magic basketball. All that to say, Cole Anthony is the bright spot right now. Cole Anthony is already a serviceable point guard, 21 games into the season. We hope he becomes more than that, and like I said, hopefully he can continue to develop. And we've got next year with our young guys. So it's hard not to be a little upset about this season, but a lot of it's been out of our control anyway, so might as well just enjoy the young guys like Cole. Hopefully Mo gets out on the court and we get answers soon, and Chuma does as well. Then I think that it'll lift our spirits a little bit.
I think we went into the season like, oh, this is going to be bad, and then after 6 games, you're like, wait, what's going on here? It might not be that bad, and then it's like, oh, he tore his ACL. Okay, yeah, the season's over. Yeah. So, yeah, oh well. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to the 6 Man Show. We do this every single Monday, whether we're miserable and hating life as Magic fans right now, or they're 4-0, whatever the case may be. But thank you guys so much for listening. For Luke, this has been Jonathan. We will catch you guys next time. See ya.